So sometime this December, we're supposed to be getting an official hound from Takara, and so I figured this is a good time to talk about the differences between all of the different hound options that are out there, and let everybody have an educated decision whether or not they pre-order that thing, or whether they go try to find one on the secondary market, or whether they find one on clearance at BBTS or wherever they're clearancing these things out at. So before you, I have two characters that I'm going to talk about. Then I'm going to compare them to all the other ones. So welcome to the Titanium Hangar. We're going to be doing what we do, talking about some Transformers today, and all the different Hound options. So let's get right into it. So this is Fanstoys Willis, and this one is probably the most sought after version of Hound right now. And he's a little smaller than the other Hounds. He's a little shorter, but he's made of die-cast. He probably weighs more than any of them. And he's a challenging transformation. He's tough to transform. He is tough to transform. But he looks good. He looks the part. He has a decent head sculpt. I mean, the head sculpt, Fanstoys is good with head sculpts. Can I get that in there real good? And you know it's Hound. I mean, you see that, you know it's Hound. Now there's some negatives plaguing this. I have a lot of people telling me there's arrived broken, it broke on them transforming it, and a lot of things like that, which is now kind of starting to be a common issue with Fanstoys items. But you got to also look that Fanstoys items are now 7 years old, 7 years old, some of them. So depending on when they were released, I think this was a 2014 release, I believe. I may be wrong, but I did get mine secondhand, and so I'm lucky that I got it for the price that I did when I did, and I got a good copy. So next I want to bring in this figure here. Now this guy is called the TFC Old Soldiers Detective, and he's not the best one. Now, a lot of people complain that he breaks real easy, a lot of QC issues, but I recently watched one of the great Transformer reviewers transform them and not break them, so it can be done. But here he is from the back, and he has a nice solid Jeep mode to him. I picked him up because he was only $40, and he's still like only $40, and still in stock pretty much at BBTS and everywhere, I believe. And with that, he is bigger than, well, you can see he's bigger than Willis, but I think he's actually a little taller than Maketoys Gundog, which we're going to talk about next. But I got him. I actually displayed him and had him on a different shelf for a while, and I'm like, what am I doing? Willis is way better. Fanstoys Willis is way better. So let's go ahead and set these guys up and look at the animation model difference between them. So the first thing I want to point out is that Willis hits the animation model closer than this guy does. And we starting at the top, the head sculpt is great. That head sculpt is, well, the whole figure. Okay, this whole figure looks like just a Jeep that transforms into a robot. It doesn't really look like Hound. It's a Jeep that transforms into a robot. And I never really was a huge fan of TFC, and I never felt like they hit the aesthetics. So that was just me. I didn't like their. Did they make Hercules? They made Hercules. I didn't. I really didn't like the Hercules. So, but I got this guy anyway. I mean, whatever. Fanstoys does great work, but Fanstoys has a real world aesthetic versus this cartoon look, and I think that all the rest of them have a cartoon look to it. So if you want the real world aesthetic on your shelf, you're gonna have to have Fanstoys. But then going a little bit lower, I mean, just everything about the Fanstoys matches, except for the feet. I think the feet are a bit off now. I'm using Sunbow instead because I can't find a good picture with feet, a good still, a capture one myself. It's just, I just decided to use Sunbow. That's the lazy, easy way out. I did it anyway. But I do think that Fanstoys looks great. Now let's go ahead and talk about another one. Okay, so this is Maketoys Gundog. And as you can see, Maketoys Gundog is bigger and bulkier and looks more tuned. Like, he doesn't have the silver thighs like a Fanstoys one. He has the white painted thighs. And he looks good. I wouldn't say he looks great, but when you look at the overall aesthetic and compare it to the animation model, it doesn't really match up as well as the Fanstoys. So, with that, I never really considered a Gundog because, first off, the price on that, you're still gonna be paying like $100 or more for the Gundog. And nowadays, you're gonna be paying like 200 for Willis on the secondary market, unless you catch a deal in like a Facebook group or something. So, with all that, I have a lot of people that have Gundog. The comments on Gundog is that he's a fun transformation. He doesn't break on you like the Fanstoys or like the TFC's version, and he looks solid. He looks good, and he's posable. Now I can't speak to it because I don't have it, and I really don't need another Hound unless it's the definitive Hound, which I believe Takara will be. So let's go ahead and get into the Takara. So Takara's version looks very hyper-tuned and is going to match the animation model even more than Willis, as you can see right here. And I think that I think he looks good, but the track record that Takara has with their MP36 Sunstreaker and their MP36 was Megatron, 39 was Sunstreaker. Those are the last two G1 Transformer releases that they put out that wiped out third party. Like third party, there has not been another third party Megatron. There's just been KOs of it. There has not been another third party Sunstreaker. There's just been one run of KO of that, which I don't know why there hasn't been 2, 3, or 4 more. I mean, that's a hard figure to get, really. But Takara puts these out and stops third party in their tracks. I don't know why Fanstoys didn't take the opportunity to go ahead and re-release Willis one more time, get that last run, but it seems like Fanstoys is actually out to put more figures out and to fill your shelf more than just compete, which is great, I guess. So comparing these, let's look at the top here. So we've got the head sculpt on Fanstoys looks good. The head sculpt on, I'm sorry to say this, head sculpt on Takara is better. Takara just blows away head sculpts. They do an amazing job. In fact, I don't know if you noticed, but a whole lot of customizers or whatever are using extra faces that come with their Takara stuff to put on figures that have terrible head sculpts, just face sculpts, just because they look so good. That's like a new trend I'm seeing around. I don't know if I think they use the Inferno face or Grapple face on one of the figures. I don't remember which one on a third-party figure. But anyway, moving down, the chest. If you see the chest here on the Fanstoys and all the line work and stuff, that's not true line work. What that is that's part of the transformation. And so Takara's engineered a way around that. They have a smooth hood on the Jeep, and that's because there's this protruding neck piece. Like basically the head sits on top of the hood, and then when you transform it, it comes off and it's connected by a bar, like a rotating bar, and it'll just tuck away behind it. So the hood is just one solid piece, which to me is the best way to do Hound. I like that. That's ingenious. And that's where Takara shines, is the ingenuity that's going on. Next, we get down here, as you can see, he's gonna be hyper-tuned versus the Fanstoys with the thighs not being all silver. And then you get down, and I think the lower legs on Takara just nail it. They nail it. I think Takara nails it. That's just how it is. Now, so let's do a quick lineup of all of them. So, follow the bouncing finger. Fanstoys Willis is about a $200 figure nowadays. You might get them for $250, you might get them for $150, depending on a Facebook group or something. Next to him, you have Maketoys Gundog. And now Maketoys Gundog is like a $100 figure, maybe $120. And then we move over to Takara, who wants $160 for theirs. And then moving over here to this guy's $40. I think they might even give them away if you buy a sandwich or something. I don't know. But the thing about it is that the price is too high. We got used to the Carbot price of $120. Like that was a like a shocker to us. Like, oh my gosh, that's too much. And now the Carbot price moved up to 160, and then where does it stop? I mean, we're already complaining about MP44 boycotting Takara for MP44, and that's a figure that's twice size, maybe 3 times the amount of plastics going in there. It's got the trailer and all that. But Hound, there's no reason for it to be more than 120, so that's going to be a tough one to stomach. It's going to be KOs wanting to hit it pretty hard. But let me know what you think. Which option do you like the most? Which one do you have? Are you waiting on a Hound? Are you literally have like a hole and no Hound? Let me know about that in the comments. Like, subscribe, and Tiberium Hanger out. I thought it was interesting that Fanstoys used Willis as a measuring stick in their promo picture for the upcoming uh, Stunticon they're putting out. And if you look at this, this guy is, well, about the same size as the Fanstoys. So this is the DX9 right here, and I put him right next to this, but Fanstoys would be like a half a head taller. But I thought it was kind of interesting. I thought it was kind of a hint that maybe we'd see a re-release of Willis, but maybe not.